So this week we are making a map in Sketchbook School. And of course I'm doing that too because I'm doing my homework for the class with Nate Padovic. And I'm pretty excited about it because maps are so intriguing. I think maps can be beautiful. I have maps of Amsterdam hanging on the wall at home. And also maps can be, of course, they can be very helpful, but it can also be really tricky if you want to create one. Often the maps that are in my head are quite different from the actual map of the city or the neighborhood or whatever. So for me, it is a little bit complicated. However, I've been thinking, what kind of map do I want to make? And I could do a map of all the great places to eat in my neighborhood, for example. Or I could do a map of all art supply shops in Amsterdam. Or I might do my favorite coffee places here in Amsterdam. Or, well, I can come up with all sorts of stuff in Amsterdam. And I just kind of never really felt that, yes, that's what I'm going to do. Right now I have an idea, but before getting that idea, I needed to find a little bit of inspiration. So I dived into my books, and I have two fantastic books on maps that I first want to show you just quickly. This is a book made by a Dutch illustrator, Jan Rothuizen. And he has made maps for years. He's still making maps. And he has such amazing things because it's a different kind of map than the ones that you would find your way through a city. And this is the Atlas of Amsterdam. So he drew maps of places in Amsterdam. For example, Vondelpark. It's most famous park in Amsterdam. It's the park where Danny and I met for the first time before SketchbookSkool was born, where part of the brainstorm started, I think. And as you can see, it's, he mapped out things about the park rather than actually mapping out where to go left, where to go right, to find your way through the park. Oh, this one is nice too. The 9 streets of in Amsterdam in the Jordan quarter. And this is actually quite accurate. I think you could take this map with you and find all the shops that are in this area. The red light district mapped out for you, in case you want to visit. But have a look at this. There's almost no drawings in this one, and still it really maps out this area of office buildings in Amsterdam. I think that is really interesting. A map that is written out and still it makes sense. And here's one with more drawings. It's a Hindu temple, a map of a Hindu temple. And I really love the way he uses perspective, so you really get a view into the space. Here, this is a map of the theater, the city theater. It feels a little bit like children's books illustrations where you can stare at a page for ages and you will discover new stuff all the time. Now, and then I have something else. This is a book that I actually got like a few days ago. My friend Sophie pointed this out to me, and when she showed me her copy of it, I completely fell in love with the idea. It's also by 2 Dutch authors. It's called Atlas van de Belevingswereld. This also comes in English, and then it's called Atlas of Experiences. This book is pretty amazing because it maps out experiences. The book has a map inside. This is the world of experiences. So it has all these small bits and pieces. There are islands, rivers, there are cities and towns and lakes and seas, and big cities are called growth, change, success, joy. Inside of the atlas there's a lot of text. It's really philosophy, I think, and also psychology. And then you can really look at all the different parts of that world. I think it's amazing because it looks like real maps of real places in the world, and yet they aren't. And they are, because they're inside your head. So what I find here is creation, inspiration, smells, composition. This is a really cool one. Oh, actually, I opened it up at the ideas section, or the part of the world where ideas happen. This one is called Home. In the country of home, you will find emotions, cuddle, the true self. Hot chocolate is in there too. Welcome, visit, dishes, every day, well, on and on. So I might steal this idea because I really love the idea of mapping out your thoughts or your inner world or your mind. And that might actually give me a little bit of freedom to just make a map up instead of making a map true to reality, because that always gives me a little bit of trouble. So I'll be working on this and documenting it as I go, because it's quite a process. And I already made a little bit of just a few scribbles, so I made a little bit of a start. Here's my compass rose, and I was thinking instead of north, south, east, west, I would go for thinking, feeling, observing, and wondering. That might make sense somehow. So that's a beginning. And then I also listed the things that would lie in those areas. So I have a list for feeling, wondering, thinking, and observing. I already am off to a good start. Now I just need to make a design. So at first I started with those 6 empty frames. I thought, well, I'm never going to fill all those in. I have probably 1 or 2 ideas, but once I started, I got more ideas and I filled all 6 up. I do like the hand-lettered idea of lettering all those mind spaces. Could also be a little bit boring, and I think I'm going for the atlas style, just going to steal that whole idea of the book that I showed you. I guess today I'm stealing like an artist. Now all I need to do is make up a country, maybe an island. It should be an island. And as I go along with this, I need to come up with a title as well. I don't think this should go in the middle. I think this should go there, and this may need to go there. And the title goes here. Oh, you know what? I'll put it in a banner, as if it were a treasure map. I am quite pleased with the idea of making this a treasure map, actually. And I think this is one of the best parts of the creative process. You just come up with ideas as you go. Okay, so I need to channel my inner pirate to make this a map that looks like a treasure map. Okay, so yesterday I started with my design. I didn't finish it, and I didn't want to finish it in one go either, because I know in this whole design process, on the go, you'll get other ideas. Yesterday I talked to Danny and we talked about a lot of exciting stuff for Sketchbook School future. But also I shared my idea about my map with him, and I can definitely advise you to talk about your map if you need any ideas, because the feedback from others will give you different insights and different ideas. So he gave me a few ideas. I was like, maybe I can do that. So I'll take those ideas with me. What I also will do is, instead of using Google Maps, like Nate tells us in the course, if you want to do your map accurately, you can use Google Maps to pinpoint the things you want to draw on your map. Well, for me, obviously, this is a mind map, so there won't be a Google map for that. But I will use Google Images to have a look at what treasure maps usually look like, and I found a bunch, and I can see that they look old-ish and some have burned edges. That's really interesting. And the illustration style is quite simple. I might do a combination of the atlas kind of map that's a little bit more detailed, and the kind of treasure map that I found online. So let's see where this gets me. I'll use this as a sketch, then I'll do a neat one. Okay, I'll just dive in and do this. So I think there will be big cities and then some smaller villages as well. And there should be a lake. It's called Deep, a river. I think I need to just outline this so I know what my map will look like. So those are the main points. So this is just really for my own understanding, so I can find my way through this map when I copy it and do it for reals. All right, so I'll take this and do a neat version of it. All right, I think I made quite a complicated map, included almost everything from my first map, made it a little bit smaller just to give myself a little bit more of space around it in case I want to try and burn the edges, if I dare. I am going to ink this and then see what it looks like and take the next decision. So I'll just dive in, and I'm not going to be too concerned about whether or not this is going to be perfect, because it won't. I've used just a simple fine liner, and it's waterproof because I want to add color, and I might soak it in tea actually, so it has to be waterproof. So far I've been using 0.7, and now I'll use 0.2 because that's allows me to draw a little smaller, write a little smaller, and also you might have noticed I added a sea monster and a pirate ship. So maybe do a little bit of hatching as well. What I want to do is make those important places, give them a red dot, so I need to be smart about that because it has to be waterproof. I'll be using just two colors, one for the rivers and the lakes and one for the cities. I am definitely going to scan my work first, just in case I mess up, because I might. In the meantime, I'm also testing what tea does. I made some tea. It's Earl Grey. Smells amazing. And I soaked my paper into it. So I just took a piece of paper, soaked it in, and it doesn't have quite the effect I was hoping for. I also painted with the tea, and I think the more you put on, the better it stains. And I actually also just splashed the bag onto the paper, and that actually gives a real nice effect. So I might do that. to give my map a little bit of an old kind of feeling. What I also did is burn the edges of the paper. And that actually works really well. You need to be really careful. And again, it's super scary, but I think my map needs this. So I'll be doing that after I've scanned it. Yep, we're doing this. Okay, I think this looks kind of cool, and I'll be doing this, but not with the camera above it. So you get the idea. All right, quite the adventure, but it worked. I think this is fantastic. Okay, I think it already looks really cool, but I do think I'm going to need that bit of tea. And I think I'll just splash my tea around. I might just put this on the scanner just one more time to make sure I have this at least, in case I mess up with the tea. And then I'll just color it, let it dry, and then it's done. Last part of my map. Dive in with my Earl Grey, and I'm just not going to think about this. Just splash it on, see whatever happens. I think this will really add the finishing touch. I think I need this to dry, and then I might go in with just one more layer of dark splashes. See what this looks like first. Well, I just came back from lunch, and I have to say I am super pleased with my map. Have a look. I think I'll drop in just one more layer of tea. That should do the trick. It's super fun. It is indeed a treasure map. See if you can find the treasure there. I hope this inspires you to create a map that reflects your ideas, and that is so much fun to do as well. Okay, all I need to do now is let this dry completely, and then it's done. And then I will scan it, I will submit it to They Draw and Travel, and it will be so excited to see it published on theydrawandtravel.com. And of course, I will also post it in the gallery in the course Let's Make a Map at sketchbookskool.com. And I can't wait to see what the other students are making.